Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Logan, and today I'm going to show you how to build your own streaming service that looks and feels a lot like Netflix, but runs entirely within your home, on your own hardware, with your own content. You don't got to worry about any monthly fees, no artificial limitations, and most importantly, nobody's going to take away the movies you actually want to watch. And the foundation of our setup here is going to be the ZimaBoard 2, which we've already reviewed here on the channel, so if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link down in the description. But in short, it's a compact Intel N150 based server with excellent connectivity, low power consumption, and it ships with ZimaOS, which makes setting up server applications really straightforward. But here's where things get interesting, because out of the box, streaming servers like Jellyfin can stream your media just fine, but if you have mixed devices in your home, maybe you have an older iPad, a Roku, and an Android TV, well, you're going to run into performance issues when you try to process all of those streams at the same time. That's where hardware transcoding comes in, and fulfilling that duty is going to be an Intel Arc A310 plugged into the side of the ZimaBoard there. And you might be thinking, well, why are we wasting a whole graphics card in a media server? Aren't those things really expensive? And yes, I understand it sounds a little excessive, but hear me out, because the Arc A310 is specifically designed for low-cost, low-power media encoding. It supports every codec you could possibly need, and most importantly, it can handle multiple simultaneous transcoding streams without even breaking a sweat. This means everybody in your house can watch something different at the same time, and it'll all get smoothly transcoded and streamed to their devices. Alright, so let's get into what you actually need for this build, and obviously the first thing is going to be the ZimaBoard 2 itself. I'd strongly recommend getting the 16GB model, but if you need, you can run this all on the 8GB model. The more RAM that you have for Jellyfin is going to be better though. You also need the Arc A310 graphics card, which I'll link in the description. This is a low profile unit that's perfect for the ZimaBoard, and it doesn't require any external PCIe power. For storage, I'd recommend at least 2 hard drives if you want any kind of data protection. So I'm using a pair of Western Digital Red 4TB hard drives, and I'll be setting those up in a RAID 1 mirror so that if one drive fails, I won't lose any data. But honestly, you can start with a single drive if budget is a concern and expand that array later. You're also going to need a way to actually get content onto your server, and we've made multiple videos about ripping Blu-rays and 4K Blu-rays using a USB Blu-ray drive, much like this unit right here, so I'll leave links to those videos in the description as well. So let's start with the hardware installation. The ZimaBoard 2 has a single PCIe 3x4 slot on the side, and that's where we're going to install our Arc A310. Now, you may need to install the low profile bracket that comes with the card, depending on how you're mounting everything, and that's exactly what I did, since I'm using the ZimaBoard 2 NAS kit with the PCIe riser cable, so it just goes onto the side of the enclosure. And of course, for your hard drives, you can just use the SATA cable with power that's included with the ZimaBoard 2. That'll give you 2 hard drives right there, which is perfect again for the NAS kit. So with the hardware installed, go ahead and power on the ZimaBoard and give it a couple minutes to boot up. Once it's running, open your web browser and navigate to the ZimaOS web interface. Or, if you're not sure what the IP address is, you can use the Zima client app to find it on your network and interact with the ZimaBoard there. So the first thing that we're going to do is verify that ZimaOS can actually see our Arc A310. Head into Settings, then System, and scroll down until you see the PCIe Devices section. You should see your Intel Arc A310 listed here, but if you don't, try reseating the card and rebooting. Next, we need to set up our storage. Head on over to the storage section and click Create Storage Pool. I'm going to select RAID 1 here again since I have 2 drives and I'd like to mirror them for redundancy. Give your storage pool a name. I'm just going to call mine Storage and then hit Create. Once your storage pool is ready, go ahead and create a new shared folder within it. I like to make one share called Media with all of my streaming media and then organize that with separate folders for movies, TV shows, and everything else, but you can structure this however makes sense to you. Just make sure to remember these paths because we'll be needing them when we set up Jellyfin. Alright, now here comes the fun part, installing Jellyfin. Head on over to the App Store in ZimaOS, search for Jellyfin, and click Install. ZimaOS is going to automatically pull down the Jellyfin Docker container and set up all the necessary configuration files. But here's where we need to do something a little different than the default installation. Before we launch Jellyfin for the first time, click on the 3 dots next to the Jellyfin app tile and then hit Settings. So we need to map our media folders. So scroll down to the volume section and configure a new host path for the media volume. This is just going to point to the media folder that we put onto our RAID array. Once that's done, you can also scroll down and verify that the dev DRI device is mapped in the host and in the container, which is going to be essential for hardware transcoding. And with all of that configured, go ahead and start the Jellyfin container. It should take about 30 seconds to fully initialize, and then you can click on Open the Web UI to access Jellyfin's interface. And the first time you open it, you'll be greeted with a setup wizard. So just follow the initial setup to create your admin account, set your language preferences, and when you get to the Add Media Library section, this is where you can point Jellyfin to those folder mappings we created earlier. Now, here's the critical part, setting up hardware transcoding. Once you've completed the initial setup wizard, head back into the Jellyfin dashboard, then on Playback in the left sidebar, scroll down to the Hardware Acceleration section, and change the dropdown from None to Video Acceleration API, VA API. In the VA API device field, you'll want to enter /dev/DRI/rendered D128. Then make sure to check all of the boxes for enabling hardware decoding and encoding for every codec listed. H.264, HEVC, VP9, AV1, all of them. The ARC A310 can handle everything, so there's no reason not to enable it all. Click Save, and Jellyfin should now be configured to use your ARC A310 for all transcoding tasks. So now let's talk about actually using this thing, because a media server is only as good as the content you put on it and how easy it is to access. First, I'm going to test it on my Android phone using the Jellyfin app. So I'll fire up a 4K HDR movie that's encoded in HEVC and see what happens. I can see that Jellyfin is using hardware transcoding to convert this file into a format that my phone can handle more easily. And this is the beauty of hardware transcoding, because without it, the Intel N150 and that ZimaBoard would struggle to transcode more than a single 4K stream. But with that ARC A310 handling the workload, the CPU barely breaks a sweat, and you could easily have 4 or 5 simultaneous streams without any problems. Now, I do want to address some limitations with the setup. Like, for example, if you're planning to access your server remotely over the internet, you'll need to set up some kind of reverse proxy or VPN, which is outside of the scope of this video, but it's definitely something that we can cover in the future if there's any interest. And while Jellyfin is fantastic in my opinion, it's still not quite as polished as Plex in some areas. The mobile apps in particular can be a bit rough around the edges, though they are improving rapidly. So for most people using this on a TV or computer, you probably won't notice, but it's worth bearing in mind, especially if you mainly use a mobile device. Now, I know that some of you are probably thinking that this seems really complicated and it's way easier just to crack open Netflix. And look, if you're someone that only watches a couple shows a month and doesn't care about owning your content, then yeah, maybe Netflix is fine for you. But if you're someone who's built up a large Blu-ray collection over the years, you're willing to go scavenge on eBay or secondhand sites for new content that you can't really get anywhere else, or if you're just tired of paying for multiple streaming services just to access the content you want, then I think building your own streaming server is absolutely worth the time and effort. So if you're interested in building your own streaming server like this, I'll leave links to everything we used down in the description. The ZimaBoard 2, the ARC A310, compatible hard drives, and our Blu-ray ripping guide, which is where you can find more information about this drive right here. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you found it helpful and you're thinking about building your own streaming server, let us know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future content. And as always, have an awesome day.